Lawfully is an immigration legal tech startup that I think is the only one that I know of that uses data analytics and AI to kind of help you track cases. And they've also added a ton more features over the last few years, but that's what I know. That's the first one I used when I used them all the way back in 2021 to track an H-1B case application back then. I love it for its simplicity. It's so simple to use. I don't know if you've used it. You just open the app, put in your case number, and that's it. Start tracking it. And also that it's free. There's no barrier to entry, which is pretty rare for something in the legal tech world, I think. Incredibly excited to have the founders, both of them, on here with us. So we have Joon on, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Joon, because I know what that feels like, who's actually a scientist turned entrepreneur, who was actually a physics major. And before he co-founded Lawfully, he was working at this laboratory as a research scientist. And we have Judy Chang, who is a managing partner at Judy Chang Law Firm, and is a veteran immigration lawyer. So with that, I'd love to invite Joon and Judy on stage.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, Joon. So
Hi, nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you so much for introducing me and Judy. And it's really a great pleasure to see you all here. I know Unshackled community is very strong and very supportive to each other. So it's a great pleasure for me to speak with you and discuss what we wanted to know a little more with Judy.
when I was reading about the story of Lawfully, it made sense why Judy might at some point start a company in this domain. But I'm curious, Joon, with the background in physics and then as a researcher, why and how did you land upon this idea of building a data analytics legal tech startup?
First of all, I'm an immigrant as well as the rest of us. And as an immigrant myself, I had to go through all those visa, green card processes. And like everybody else, after submitting my application, I constantly check the USCIS website for any updates, and I was just stressed out every day for the search of any update and how my case is going on, anything. So, as a guy who deals with numbers and models every day, I always thought there should be there should be a better way to deal with this, and there must be a way to have an idea of how my case is going. So many years after my green card approval, I still saw so many people around suffer from the same issue. So one day I thought, why shouldn't we have a automated tool, and then moved on to building the first version of the lawful case tracker, and we released it on App Store just to see, how it goes and if this is really the one people want. And surprisingly, it spread quickly, and in the first year or so, I think it hit 200,000 registered cases, and now it is 2.5 million. So we were lucky, and we were really in the heart of people's need, I think. And I knew there was no prior example of data and analytics and immigration. So that's how we started a startup.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I'm not surprised though, because I feel like even now there is no other app that I know of that kind of does what Lawfully does in the way that it does it. But before we talk about the app itself, how did you come into this, Judy, from your perspective?
As a lawyer, the most frequent questions we receive are what's going on with my case? How long is the processing time? Right? Immigration cases have been becoming lengthier and lengthier, and we had to deal with these same questions repeatedly. And lawyers want to do lawyer jobs, right? Not checking the status all the time. So we at our law firm also had the need to be able to track the process more easily, more accurately. So, we are talking about it amongst ourselves as well as scientists, and then it came out to this solution. So we are very excited because so far we recommend our clients to register their cases once we file something, and they are pretty satisfied that there are questions that they need to ask us, but then through Lawfully they get questions right away, and they are not in the dark. So I feel like Lawfully is giving some control back to the users and my clients. So I feel a lot of benefit from it.
I know that currently you help people track all sorts of applications, right? One question that I see in the chat box is, do you also help people track I-824 application? I don't know what that is. Judy, I'm sure you probably do. Is that also part of the app?
I guess, Judy, can you first provide what I-824 is?
Normally, it's just taking another action on an already approved application. So, for example, a petition has been approved and you want to send it to the National Visa Center and the US Consulate, then you file I-824. That's like in one part of it. So it's taking an action on an approved petition.
Yes, so in that sense, yes, our app can track I-824 case as long as you have a receipt number from USCIS.
I know that case tracking is what made Lawfully popular, but I was playing around with the app today, for example, just to see what else is there. You have the mock interview booking with a consultant, a lawyer, and you also have a chance to just book a call with a lawyer if you have any questions. And I noticed that the fee that I have to pay for that is actually on the lower end than most lawyers I've seen. Because most lawyers, I would say the average is probably a few $100s to get 1 hour of their time. And I'm curious, what made you add that feature? And also, how did you make it so affordable for people?
So when we were doing brainstorming, some people came up with this idea that it would be nice to have this consultation feature. And I was initially a little bit worried about the legality of the matter and the cost. And I, for example, was offering a 30-minute consultation at minimum at my law firm. So I didn't know whether it was going to work. But then, some of the members who were more experienced with their own cases thought, Judy, Joon, once in a while, we just have a quick question. And it takes time to set up an appointment with a lawyer. We don't know who to call, or sometimes it's our employer's lawyers who wouldn't entertain our quick question, right? So we don't even need 30 minutes. A lot of it can be 5 minutes, or within 15 minutes we can get our questions answered, and we'll have peace of mind. So we looked into that, and as for lawyers, we were able to attract lawyers with experience. They check what matters they are comfortable with or experienced with, and then lawyers are not always booked, right? There can be a time between cases or time between court appointments, and they can let people know that I'm available at this, during this 15 minutes or this afternoon. And what's amazing about Lawfully is that it makes that happen because of that feature. Normally, it's not easy for a user or immigrant to find a lawyer who's available on that day, right? So that's how it came about.
That's fantastic. And how many lawyers are there on the platform right now?
Right now, we have more than 20 lawyers available on the app.
Great.
And some lawyers, they keep their live feature on. That means that people can send instant request, and then the lawyer will take it immediately. So people don't have to wait until the appointment is confirmed so that they can have consultation with the lawyer right away.
Dominic is asking, is your app connected to USCIS directly through an API, or you check the status manually? So I'm going to assume you definitely are not doing it manually, but you're the scientist, so go on.
So we are using an API to directly connect our servers to the USCIS server. So that makes the process a lot more efficient. Although we have a lot of users, so still we need to deal with heavy traffic loads and stuff, but it is automated process using an API.
And this is kind of a personal question I have is, do you see that during the H-1B season, March of each year, there is a spike in traffic? Like, is that what most people are using Lawfully for, tracking H-1B applications?
Yes, there is always in early April or late March, there is a spike in H1B. However, that traffic is relatively not a huge traffic in terms of our daily traffic that we need to deal with. So it doesn't give us any abnormal load spike.
Okay, got it. That brings another question is, what do people use it for the most in terms of tracking applications? Is it employment-based petitions or family-based petitions?
Both employment-based, family-based, green card applications, or non-immigrant visa applications.
Got it.
So virtually everything we track and analyze and provide information to people.
Gotcha. I see a question from Jeremiah, who's asking, how is Lawfully different from the USCIS case status checker? And what is the business model that you found works for you? Because I'm sure you experimented with many different business models to see what is profitable, what is useful for the users, and so on.
The USCIS status website, it is available to everybody, but you have to you have to log on to the website and check manually every day. And there is some email notification from or text notification from USCIS, but it is not very efficient, we know. And USCIS is not an agency for people's convenience or comfort. They are the agency to take applications and to make decisions. So to streamline the process and provide people with curated or tailored information is not their high priority. So it is always you need to access and check, and the status is only the current status. The past status is gone. What will come in the next stage? You don't know. They don't tell you. So all those information we collect from status data and try to make it more tailored to people. So there is a big difference between our information and just checking the USCIS website. And I think I mentioned this before, but also the important thing is our information is relative to each other. So you can figure out where you are located in the waiting line of other people who have applied in the similar case category or similar filing date, blah, blah, blah. So that makes a big difference for people.
I didn't know that actually. I've also seen that you show a graph of the likelihood of your visa getting denied or accepted or RFE'd and so on, which is very helpful, actually. The second question is more about the business model. So what business model have you found that works for you? Because the app is free for people to install and use. So do people pay for something that's premium when they start using it?
Yes, so some features are paid features. Now, as a startup, we need to prove ourselves as a being able to generate revenue. But most of the information, for example, tracking, notification, decision date, predictions, and stuff, they're all provided free of charge. So the paid features are focused on more elaborate features that we need to process on in the backend. That means we need to run our server, and we need to run our models to get some derivatives from the data. So they takes resources, human resources. They takes hardware resources, software resources. So that's why we charge, but we try to keep our paid features as economical as possible for immigrants, because we are aware that That's our users' high priority and the urgent need.
And the last question I see from Jeremiah is, do you also share your API with other immigration tech startups that might be also trying to streamline process for immigrants?
That's a good idea, actually. Yes, that's definitely there's a possibility. So if we can share, well, I guess there should be some kind of business model for that. But if we can share those APIs with other immigration tech companies or other law offices or other organizations, I think that'll make the effect more like bigger and to influence more people. So that's a good idea. We will definitely think of that.
It's awesome. And something that I think sets, you said this earlier yourself, that USCIS is not looking for better user experience. They're not looking to make sure that the UX of the product is as great as possible, because that's not their job. And that's where someone like you and Judy, with your team, can actually think about how can we make this as user friendly as possible. So I really like the design of the app. I find it very clean, simple, nothing over the top, no annoying advertisements all over the place. And I'm curious, who was the design lead for the app? Was it you or someone else?
We have changed our app design, UI, UX, the whole structure as well a few times. And before we settled in the present design, so it took us a few designers and a few years of effort. So the focus was we try to run our app as efficiently as possible and most useful data to be delivered to our users as possible while keeping the design neat and elegant. So there was a kind of tricky balance between different needs, but finally we experimented this and that, and finally we decided on implementing what we are having at the moment. So in the end, what I can say is it took us some time and some effort and manpower.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well though. And now I actually have a question for Judy. I want to talk about something more future looking. So I know that right now you help people track applications, prepare for interviews, find lawyers, there's a community, and so on. Do you think there's quite a few products I'm seeing come up that help people also create petitions? So, Judy, do you see Lawfully also getting into that realm of trying to help people, say, build a petition for their H-1B or O-1 visa as well?
Yeah, in fact, we've been discussing it from the very beginning, whether it would be a good business model and something that people can really benefit from. Because it's a lot of work to create an accurate application app like that. So we are going for it. And again, as a lawyer, I feel that when clients can do simple things well, I think that's better. I personally enjoy doing more complex issues. And when it's something simple and people are not doing it only because, in the old times, people just didn't speak English very well and didn't understand the questions. Nowadays, language is not really a problem, but then just the lack of information or the fear of the process is what's stopping people from doing something simple. And so I think it would be beneficial for immigrants to do it. And also I can focus on more complex cases. I'm for it. And Lawfully, as a company, has been working on it from the beginning. And we will be showing you more in the future.
Yeah, actually, that is very true. There is a clear need for people to prepare and file their applications on their own. So we're working on it and plan to release the first version within the next couple of months.
That's awesome. It's in the next couple months, you're saying you'll launch version 1 of what you're talking about?
Yeah, we will try to begin with simpler things.
Absolutely. Nice.
Yes, so probably work from it first and then expand it to cover other parts of green card application.
As Judy said, I also realized that the lawyers I've spoken to, they also tell me the same thing, is that they really enjoy, even though O1 and EB1 applications for these extraordinary visas are not, they're very time consuming. They take probably hundreds of hours, but they're also incredibly complex and intellectually challenging, which makes it more fun for the lawyers as well. I'm sure that you'd much rather do that than respond to emails that say, like, when will my application, is there a decision yet? When will I hear back, and so on. To end with one last question, I'd like to know, clearly, you're a champion for immigrants and you have been for a while now. What is your hope for where policy should be 5 years from now in terms of at the legislative level, Congress level?
Obviously, we want to see a united front, more consensus for openness and acceptance, because we do need immigrants actually as a country. I think our economy will thrive better and our culture will be enriched by accepting more immigrants. But there's such a division now. So there's my hope, and then there's a reality of it. And I think the reality is that the Congress will probably be able to attack bits and pieces here and there, but I don't really. It's difficult to imagine an overhaul of this archaic system. It's very old. We are still advertising in newspaper and radio, for example, right? When it comes down to employment-based immigration, very, very old. We need to catch up with the reality of the market, reality of the international community. But I think it will be probably DACA here, and then maybe country quota, maybe more family unification. But I think it'll be broken down, and then we'll see bits and pieces getting done.
Yeah, thank you, Judy, for that. I mean, regarding the immigration policy, though there are a lot of discussions, right? But I think it's important for the U.S. to keep its openness to the rest of the world. And we all know, particularly diverse backgrounds, from people benefits. It'll have beneficial effects for society, economically, and culturally. So I really hope that the immigration policy moves in the direction that will make this country stronger, better, taking advantage of people's diversity from all over the world.
And what you mentioned is also what I've heard from pretty much everyone that I've spoken to who either works at a think tank or even works at Congress, is that no one thinks an entire overhaul is possible, but everyone thinks that small piecemeal improvements will happen over the next few years. So that's my hope as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing all of this. Yeah, I feel like this is an app that most people think of it as just a case tracking app, maybe when they first discovered. But as I've recently learned, there's actually a lot more in there that people could be using it for. And it sounds like a lot more is coming up in the next few months as well. So really excited. Thank you so much. If you have any last words, let us know. If not, it's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Sundara, for having us. So we'll keep in touch and really enjoy the meeting.